We continue our conversation with Dr. Tiffany Born. Doctor, we talked about how this is impacting our kids, but seniors are impacted as well. Senior citizens. I'm one of them. I'm impacted. I can't see my grandkids unless I hand them a bag of McDonald's or Hardee's, through their front door, and that's about it. What advice do you have for seniors?
Our seniors are in a tough spot because they're hearing over and over how vulnerable they are and how at risk they are. And so as a society, we're doing our best to keep our seniors safe, but that also means more isolation and being away from those that they love and even getting to do their routines that they're used to doing throughout the day. So as much as possible, setting up ways to connect with loved ones, whether that be by video conferencing methods, which seniors might need a little bit of assistance sometimes in setting up, or kind of drive by and waving and smiling and dropping off McDonald's or food and things of that nature. Having grandchildren make cards for their grandparents to share to bring some of that connection and support helpful.
And for seniors, that's a legitimate fear when we keep on hearing news reports that say if you are over 65, you are more vulnerable. If you have underlying conditions, you're more vulnerable, because that's usually the case. As you get older, you have more of these conditions. So if you're in that situation, this is not unusual. You are not alone, right?
Absolutely. You're not alone, and it's normal for that anxiety to increase too when you're hearing constantly that you are in that more kind of at-risk zone. So as with anybody, it's focusing on what are the things that you can control. So you can control that you're following the orders and staying home. You can control hand hygiene. You can control eating healthy and getting good sleep. You can control connecting with your family. You can't control the virus. You can't control what other people are doing or what you're hearing in the media.
One of the problems that everybody deals with right now is loneliness. This is something people we're always dealing with, even before this virus struck. But, now we're crying and people are getting emotional and we're making 40 trips to the refrigerator. We're doing dishes 4 times a day. A lot of us get the feeling that there's something wrong with me. And you say to yourself, it looks like other people are handling this fine and I'm not. But not everybody is fine, right? What's your advice to help people who are lonely at home to cope with this?
Right. Loneliness is such a large problem, and like you mentioned, it's been a problem for a long time. There's some research that says even prior to coronavirus, 3 out of 5 Americans reported feeling persistently lonely, which is a really sad statistic. And you mentioned feeling like other people have it all figured out and that they are not feeling this way. And we know that things like social media can make us feel that way. It can make us feel like everyone else is doing okay. They're not dealing with this stress. They're not feeling lonely. They're not dealing with this anxiety or depression. But that's really not the truth. Social media tends to show us the best pictures and the best moments of people's lives versus the reality. And so if you're feeling lonely, take some time to notice that feeling and recognize it and say, well, this is feeling lonely. And then making a choice of something you can do to make yourself feel better, whether that be connecting with other people, engaging in some self-care activities, snuggling on the couch with something warm that can make you feel connected and cared for, making a video call, reading a favorite book, versus doing things that might be harmful, like going to the fridge the 15th time or grabbing the bottle of wine.
And something people may not be considering in this whole crisis, loneliness, that can cause health problems, physical health problems as well, can it not?
Yes, absolutely. There's been some research that shows that loneliness is more of a detriment to your physical health than things that we think of like alcohol use and smoking and things of that nature. So it can absolutely have a detrimental impact on your health if you're feeling lonely. So it's important to do things to help alleviate that feeling.
Just today, I read a sleep research study, 1,400 people in this research project, about sleep. 78% of the respondents said they are having trouble sleeping. Is that normal?
It is normal, and I can count myself in there. I'm having trouble sleeping these days too. So not beating yourself up about it if you're in that situation. With all of this anxiety and our lives being out of their normal rhythm, it's normal to have difficulties falling asleep and staying asleep.
What about dreams? Crazy dreams. I mean, normally you would have a weird dream if you had like a pepperoni pizza before you went to sleep. But now I talk to people, and I know in my own case, having dreams that you think, where did that come from? And I just got to believe it has something to do with what we're thinking about all day long, this loneliness and this isolation.
hmm I think you're probably right. I've seen reports of that too, of people reporting dreams that are just very different than what they would normally dream of. And as psychologists, we really don't have a great understanding yet of dreams and where they come from. There's a lot of different theories. There's not a lot of known out there about exactly what the purpose of dreams are necessarily, and how our life events impact them. But I'm with you. I've heard that a lot of things about people having some really interesting dreams these days.
As you mentioned, people are contacting each other through social media. They're going on Facebook Live. They're going on Snapchat. How valuable is it for people to use those services to stay in touch with family and friends?
It's very valuable. It's one of the only ways we have right now to stay connected. And I know when we're feeling lonely or feeling anxious or depressed, it can be really hard to make those connections, and easier to just say, oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to sit on the couch. It might not make me feel better anyway. But that's when it's even more important to take that step and make those connections.
So we're in this day and age where information is just everywhere, and a lot of that information is wrong, especially on social media. So how do we handle this flood of COVID-19 information, right or wrong, without becoming angry or frustrated or even afraid?
Right. It's just not healthy to be reading things or hearing things about coronavirus or other life events, world events, all of the time. It's not healthy for us psychologically, emotionally, or physically. So it's important to set some limits on, first of all, where you're going to get your information from, finding some credible sources that you are interested in following through with, and then setting limits on when and how long you're going to look at media for each day or week.
Yeah, would it be valuable for us to just sometimes turn off social media for at least a certain part of our day?
Absolutely. I know on things like an iPhone, you can turn off your notifications so that I'm not getting notifications from news sources or from social media for pieces of the day, and I can just focus on other things in my life, because it's hard for anyone to continue doing what we're doing when something pops up on your phone and says, oh, take a look at this. It's very easy to get kind of dragged into looking at what popped up right then.
And we continue our conversation with Dr. Tiffany Born when we come back, so please stay with us.